today I want to talk about email newsletters, and I want to begin by putting the email newsletter in the context of the simplest marketing plan. So I'm going to share my screen and show you an excerpt. You should all have this. I hope you're using it. But this is the simplest marketing plan, the monthly planner. It's in all different versions. It's got some instructions in case you're not using it yet and aren't sure how. And then you've got 3 pages of the plan 3 times. So the newsletter is one of the 3 main marketing tools. And so it comes on the 3rd page after strategic networking, after targeted outreach, and the email newsletter is the content marketing piece, high quality content marketing that speaks to the needs, the goals, the pain points of your ideal clients. And I like to say, if you do nothing else, please do an email newsletter, because that's the way you stay visible, stay top of mind to your network, the people who already know you exist, the people you've been in touch with over the years, even perhaps. And I can tell you that a lot of y'all I know have been on my newsletter list for many years. And hopefully you appreciate it. Hopefully you value it. The idea is to just stay top of mind and keep providing value and keep building the trust. So that is where it belongs in the simplest marketing plan. So I want to do something interactive. And the question is, what is a newsletter? Because when I sent out my own newsletter, my quick tip recently, and I highlighted 2 what I called super simple email newsletters, a couple people wrote back and said, this one is a newsletter, but I don't think that one is. And so since then, actually, several people have been questioning what exactly is a newsletter, and pointing to one thing here and saying this is and this isn't. So I thought it would be an interesting exercise to see what y'all think about a variety of newsletters that I'm going to show you. And we're not going to read them all, obviously, we don't have time for that. But I just, by looking at it, I want to do not a poll per se. I think that'll be a bit too high tech, but just like raise your hand if you think what I'm showing you is a newsletter. So hold on, I'm going to share my screen again. And we're going to look at these. All right, so can you see this? This is It's the Newsletter from Maria. And let me just pull this so I can see it. Okay, so I'm going to show you a bunch. I'm just going to scroll through them. And I think what I want to do is in the chat, put yes or no. Number 1, yes or no. Number 2, yes or no, if you think it is or isn't a newsletter. Now, she calls it a newsletter. I'm just going to scroll down. This is a designer from Germinate Creative. And basically, she says sharing the goodness that's going on. That's her subject line. And it's essentially a case study of some recent work. So she's got pictures, and then she's got an example of what she did with why it mattered, how we served, the outcome, and then another one for another piece of work, same thing. So a lot of text, a few pictures showing examples, and then talking about an organization that she recently joined. And then about her and the call to action, get in touch. So number 1, is it a newsletter? Yes or no? Put that in there. I'm going to go on to number 2. This is Lauren. Lauren is with us today. Lauren Wickwear. Her birthday is Monday. You can say happy birthday to her. Very different approach, right? Also a designer, though. So it's called Future Fantastic. The tagline, inspiration, musings, and unique finds, a peek into what I'm reading, posting, thinking about, and looking at. That's consistent from one to the next. But she has this layout and format, which is very visual. She's got a quotation. She has a little bit of text talking about the fact that it's her birthday. This is a sneak peek at Monday's newsletter, by the way. And then she has another quotation and just little bits and pieces about different things, including she's looking forward to the National Museum Publishing Seminar taking place online from July 7th to August 17th, where she will be participating in one of the panels. So she's announcing something that she's doing in her market. And then here's a piece of work. And then a little bit about what she does. So number 2, is it a newsletter? Yes or no? Number 3, a copywriter. I'm going to show you 2 copywriters. So this is Deirdre Rinzo from Connect with Copy. Very short. Dear Ilise, cannoli is not a guard dog, despite the 3 barks she once gave the meter reader. Last summer, she got spooked by a contractor and fell in the pool. Then she started swimming, but I realized that until cannoli knew where the pool steps were, she couldn't get out. Yikes. So of course, I made it my mission to lovingly throw her into the water in different parts of the pool and guide her to the steps. Back on dry land, she would give me side eye for interrupting her sunbathing, shake joyously, and rub herself in the dirt, one of her greatest pleasures. This summer, we'll be having more lessons on pool egress. Get ready, cannoli, summer's coming. The point, if you're writing your web copy and can't find the stairs, swim this way. Or if you need me to throw you in the pool with love, I'm pretty much an expert. And then here's a picture of the dog, and then a little bit about her with her call to action. So number 3, is that a newsletter? And one other copywriter, oh no, that's not the copywriter. Hold on. Oh, I forgot. Here she is, Holly Morris. So her newsletter is called Holly Here, a newsletter for travel, tourism, and more. And if you have comments about why you think one is or isn't, and what about one is or isn't, I'd love to see those in the chat as well. But again, copywriters have the right to include a lot of text in their newsletter, not that designers don't, or even coaches and consultants. But I think it's really interesting here. Holly, this is not a picture of Holly. This is a picture of someone she interviewed for her newsletter. She's using the advanced content marketing strategy that I call the interview strategy, where she interviewed someone who in the hospitality industry, which is her target market, went through COVID, like all of us did, and survived, and then shares what she learned along with some of the lessons. So here are some insights, and she's passing that along. And this she also published on her LinkedIn profile, by the way, and then also pitched it to the local Chamber of Commerce, where she lives in Florida, and they immediately accepted it, which I think surprised her. Right, so is this a newsletter? Number 4. Yes or no? And then she's got, so what does all this have to do with me, a copywriter for travel and tourism? She tells you why, and then here's her call to action. And then let's just end with one other one, which is mine. Oh no, that's not mine. Go over here. Here's mine, which hopefully you recognize. This was one of my recent ones. And it's got a picture of a video, and if you click on it, then you'll watch the video, but it's really short. I think it's a newsletter, right? A really simple message today. You don't even have to read it. Watch the video. It's about email newsletters. And then I always share some resources, and I promote my simplest marketing plan. And mine are getting shorter and shorter, simpler and simpler. All right. So what is and isn't a newsletter? I can't wait to read the chat. Obviously, I wasn't reading it while I was talking, but we have a few minutes. So raise your hand if you'd like to comment one way or another, if you have an opinion about not all of those, but one or two of them that you think isn't a newsletter. Actually, I'm very curious to see what people think isn't a newsletter. So raise your hand if you want to say something. Laura, go ahead.
I think that newsletter number 4 is more suitable for a blog post based on my own experience of wanting to skim through newsletters and click on links for articles that I want to read more in depth.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Danielle, talk to us.
So I thought most of them, yes. Deirdre's to me, and even yours, almost more email than newsletter. And I don't know, because I call it an email newsletter. So it is almost, I mean, it is the same thing, but it almost felt more like a quick communication than a newsletter that was informing on something or talking about a specific thing. So it's a quibble, but that was my thought.
Interesting. All right. And let me then actually give you my definition of an email newsletter before I'm going to move on and hand it over to Wendy to talk about case studies. I think I have a 3-point definition. An email newsletter is useful information that you send regularly, number one. It is more letter than news. So, personality, bringing your personality into it. And hold on. It is generosity as a marketing tool. You are using generosity to share what you know, and especially what you know about what they may need as a marketing tool. And you're not overtly selling something, because there's a lot of email out there, right, that is sales messages. And that's not at all. To me, that is definitely not a newsletter, but I'm very liberal and open about, not open, but very liberal in terms of what is a newsletter. My definition is very liberal.